All right, I'd say we can get started. So welcome to this Lakeview webinar. In this webinar, I will share with you an update of the latest features for Lakeview, which had been released a couple of weeks ago. And during this webinar, you can ask questions in the chat, and my colleague Ray over here, he will answer them for you. So you can ask all your questions in the chat. And I will first give you an overview of the latest features, and then I will give you a live demo in Lakeview. Yeah, so the major new feature in this release is what we call global experiment analysis. And what this means is that you can combine the results of multiple chymographs together to get better statistics. So for example, in this GIF over here, you can see an histogram of the binding lifetime. And as we're adding more and more data for more and more chymographs, we're getting a better estimate of our average lifetime. And there's a couple of other new features. For example, from now on, you can have access to the metadata of your 2D scans and your chymograph. For example, you can get the pixel time or the pixel size. Further, we have a manual editing toolbar. So Lakeview has semi-automated tracking, where we have a tracking algorithm for your chymograph, and you can do manual edits. And we nicely organize these into a toolbar, and we added an extra tool, which is to cut your tracks. Third, you can now view all your channel data. In previous versions, you did not have access, for example, to the trap position. But from now on, you can just view all the data in your file and explore it. And fourth, you can now downsample your channel data. So these are some of the new additions to Lakeview. There's also another big change that doesn't directly impact the analysis. And this big change is that from now on, you need a license. So from now on, if you download Lakeview, you will get Lakeview Lite, which is just a data viewer and which will be for free. But using a license, you can upgrade to Lakeview PRO, and Lakeview PRO gives you access to analysis of chymographs. Furthermore, you have automatic updates in Lakeview PRO. So next time you don't need to re-download Lakeview, but you can just update Lakeview easily. Okay, this is an overview of the main changes. So I will now give you a live demo. Let me pull up Lakeview. So here is the latest Lakeview. I already loaded a lot of data, and I will go now over the latest features. And let me first look at the channel data. Let me, for example, pull up this one called Tether 7. And first of all, you can see here at the top this new window with which you can downsample data. By default, it's downsampled by a factor of thousands, but you can change this number. For example, you can change it to 15,000, and you can easily downsample your data like this. Another addition to the channel view is that now, for example, you have access to the trap position, so you can correlate your position to your forest data. So this opens up a lot of new workflows. And also in the export, you will notice channels that were not accessible before for export. All right, so that's it for the new features for channel data. We also had new features for scans. So here you see a beautiful 2D confocal scan of a cell with actin and the membrane stained. And now clicking on this info button will show you all the relevant metadata for the scan, like the pixel size and the pixel time, etc. Now let's move to the major change for this release, which is actually introduced here at the top. Introducing experiments, bundle chymographs and their analysis results to obtain statistical insights. Right-click a chymograph and start from there. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to select 3 chymographs using Control-click. And I can group them together in an experiment. So the experiment is now up here. I'm going to change the name to Lakeview webinar. Check. Yeah, so now I bundled all my chymographs into this experiment. And when I open it, I can just see each chymograph individually and track it. And I already did that before the webinar. So take this one, for example. I'm just gonna reopen the tracking such that I can illustrate the new editing toolbar. So here are the tracks. Yeah, and the workflow for tracking is always that you first optimize all the tracking parameters, which are explained under the info tips. And after that, I recommend to always inspect all of the tracks individually to make sure the tracking was done correctly. Because it can happen, like when tracks are very close together or when your track switches behavior, that the track algorithm is not optimal. And for those cases, we added this manual correction tools. For example, if I zoom here on this point, I see here 2 static binding events, but my tracking algorithm is jumping from one track to the other, which is not correct. So I'm going to use the new cutting tool. And then I can cut the track over here. And using the stitching tool, I can now stitch them together the correct way. Yeah, and similarly, if I see a track that is just tracking noise, I can use the delete tool to delete this track. So yeah, after you've inspected all the tracks and you think it's fine, click Finish. And yeah, as before, you can look at the analysis results of these individual chymographs. You can look at the binding time or diffusion of this single chymograph. But what is new is that you can now go to experiment analysis. And this shows you the result of these 3 chymographs combined. And it automatically fitted it and gives you the result of the fit. And I can even, if I quickly want to check the contribution of one chymograph, I can quickly switch it off and remove it. And I can add it again. Yeah, so this is global analysis. And of course, you can export the results of this, the combined diffusion estimates and binding times to CSV. Yeah, so this is an overview of the main latest features. I want to emphasize that apart from these very visible features, a lot has been done on the background as well. Like Lakeview is now faster and it's better. Yeah, credits to the software team for all these changes. Let me go back to my slides. Yeah, as a wrap up, if you did not receive the latest Lakeview yet, you can download Lakeview using this link and ask your account manager for the license, which is free for now. Future updates, you don't need to get a new link from your account manager. Instead, you can just open the present in Lakeview, which will automatically appear. And yeah, feedback is critical for us to know how to improve Lakeview further. So don't hesitate to send feedback to help@lumix.com. We read all the feedback and we consider everything. So yeah, please send us any improvements that you can think of.